Hey, this is Pops going to get through a few catch up reviews that I've been watching films for the last couple months and haven't really got all of these done. So, going to just give you a little quick, short, little thoughts and different concepts and elements that I think would be important for you to either evaluate or consider watching the film, especially if you haven't seen it ever for yourself. All right, by far the biggest film that I didn't get the review done on was Blade Runner. I watched two different versions of this film in preparation for a show and a review that just kind of fell through due to scheduling issues. And it was interesting to go back and watch such an important historic film, a classic sci fi film like this. If you've never seen it, I can't recommend it enough. It's truly a spectacular film.
Los Angeles, 2019.
There was an escape from the off-world colonies. They slaughtered 20.
The assignment? Track down 6 manufactured humans. He's the best man for the job. But he may die trying to prove it. Harrison Ford is the Blade Runner.
The 1982 Ridley Scott directed film is a classic starring Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, and Edward James Olmos. It's based on a Philip K. Dick novel. It's very, very popular. It's set in a dystopian future where, we have flying cars and you have what's called a replicant. It's a human that, on the outside, but not really. It's a cyborg. It's got extra powers and they kind of work on these different elements in their society, but we have six or so of them that have rebelled away from that. It's a fugitive group of replicants led here by Roy Batty, played by Rutger Hauer. He gets back to Earth, and you have Rick Deckard, Harrison Ford's character, basically being asked and hired to kind of hunt them down one by one. It's sort of an action drama because it takes its time. It really just eases into scene after scene and character after character. All the different things and world building is way ahead of its time, 1982. Like I'm still sort of blown away of how long ago this was actually done. It was a box office bomb at the time because it came out during the summer, June 25th, when everything was about ET. And there were so many big movies out at the time, like Wrath of Khan. This actually opened opposite to The Thing. It also bombed. And I feel like it's one of these films that took a long time to sort of get a. I guess it would have said it would have had a cult following, would have been considered a cult film for a very long time. But at some point, everyone kind of comes around and learns what a great classic and masterpiece this actually is. And I think now it's probably not considered a cult film per se, but definitely one of the sci-fi classics of all time. As you can see from different images here that I'm sharing with you is the set pieces, the costuming, the ambiance, the details. All of these things are just so immersive. It is truly a spectacular element to this film. And one of the reasons that the standards are so high for sci-fi writ large, because when you have this type of model that was built for a movie like this, and now we just kind of have random green screen blue stuff put in, it doesn't feel like it's actually there because it's not actually there. And these models did. You're definitely feel so much more connected to this film. And I think that if you look back, you realize that he just really just kind of pulled off yeoman's work by making this work. He was just a master visionary of his time. He had already done Alien, so he was on his track to just get more and more success. It's a shame the film didn't do great out of the gate because it would have been interesting to see what he would have done, having more control and things like that. The performances also are just truly awesome. Everything about it is sort of subtle. You see Harrison Ford really being able to showcase his acting skills way beyond the Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and definitely a lot more dramatic and slow things. Also, kind of an action star in a way. That's like it really kind of showcasing him as a leading man that he could actually pull all of this off, which of course is what happens after this is a long series of successful films. Some bombs along the way, probably. That I have to look through the resume more directly, but goes on to just have just an illustrious career. But it really does kind of begin and sort of kind of like explode beyond the scope of those two IPs with something like this. Now, again, at the time, not necessarily the box office success, but over time, that legacy has grown and grown and grown. This is among the greatest films of all time for me. This is among that, illustrious 5 out of 5. Doesn't get old. I don't care for the happy ending version of this film. There's multiple versions. I think I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 of them. I know there's probably at least 5. I can just say that the theatrical version is the one that I think I saw on cable, or maybe it was a VHS. I was like, all right, that's fine. But later, when you get this different extended cuts and different versions of it, and you realize he didn't really want this happy ending, the studio kind of pressured a lot of that kind of stuff. And then it's kind of evolved over time. And the director's cut has really kind of taken off, where we get rid of the silly voiceover stuff. We don't try to spoon feed the audience all these little details. The audience can be treated as smart. The studio and he were at odds with this, of course, the whole time. And it's great to see something I think that the director got right and fans can appreciate. So, yeah, Blade Runner, just truly a magnificent classic film, and glad to be able to talk about it at least a little bit here. And I'm no expert compared to other folks. Some folks love this film way more than even I do. So that's my take on it, though.
I need the old Blade Runner. I need your magic.
Call it brave.
No choice, huh?
Call it crazy.
You wouldn't have come if I just asked you to.
But there's something dangerous about a Blade Runner who's feeling the blues. Ridley Scott's futuristic vision of L.A. law.
If only you could see what I've seen with your eyes.
Blade Runner, Tuesday night at 8 on Channel 11.
I want to talk about Vampires, 1998 John Carpenter film that didn't really get to review on, and really is a film that I just don't really enjoy as much as I think some people do. A lot of folks consider this sort of like the hidden classic or a gem that no one talks about, where you have James Wood leading this vampire hunters, and you have a sequence of events that kind of play off here. We end up with basically a vampire, an uber can't kill kind of vampire, and that is what is interesting. And I will say, there's tons of great moments and things in the film that really work early on. Now, the fact that they sort of like don't sleep in coffins, they just sleep barely underground. He has a lot of powers and things that are a little bit different than some of the traditional stuff, and you do have him basically doing kind of a Kurt Russell version of James Wood. He's not bad or anything like that. I'm not trying to throw a lot of shade. I just feel that there are great moments and things like this that are enjoyable, but I think that the story kind of gets bogged down. Here is part of that for sure, and that would be Daniel Baldwin's character. Now, he plays sort of like the second in command, and there is a love interest, Katrina, who gets bit, and he ultimately falls for her. And there is this sort of like slow progression of transformation and all of that that is taking place over the course of the film as they're tracking down Valek, and they got this priest as a tag along. So, all in all, I think the film tries to do too many different things. It's an hour and 8 minutes, and I hate to say this because I don't know how to trim it, because it's got stuff I don't like at all. Action sequences, especially the early part of the movie, is I think where everybody wants to be. The fact that Valek shows up and dispatches them all so easily because they're distracted by, all the debauchery going on, drinking and partying. It works because of the distraction, but I wish that they were a little bit more formidable in that sequence. But they're trying to showcase how strong he is. But the love interest stuff and how it kind of just derails the whole thing. I will say that what Carpenter does by creating a great adaptation of a script by Don Jacoby is that they have this sort of like alternate universe of how vampire hunting works and where they are, the conspiracy with the church, and that all is interesting and actually could lend itself for more films in that universe, like more stuff. Now, I don't know how that'd play out. I don't trust people in today's cinema to give us anything good in that way, but there are definitely good elements in here. It's just sort of bogged down with a lot of stuff that is not so great. Carpenter has kind of this is sort of like right outside that sweet spot bubble for me, where I talk about right around Halloween all the way through. So 1975 all the way through 1985. You have this sweet spot where like 8 or 9 films they're just it's this great resume of stuff with very little debate and very little criticism. Vampires is a little bit outside of that. and I had it on my radar screen to kind of talk about during the holiday Halloween season. Just didn't get to it, and in large part just because I'm just sort of mad on it. It's not a bad experience to watch. I think that there's plenty of action, but there's also a big lull that you kind of have to get through. I think there are a lot of good elements and there are things that work well with the film, but I also think there's a lot of stuff that's just like, ugh, not interesting at all. It feels like he's trying to do a horror western with this vampire stuff, and I'm not exactly sure, how much focus he had on keeping the story tight enough and focusing on character arcs and things of that nature. Because really, James Wood character doesn't really change much at all. The Baldwin stuff is just kind of lame. I just didn't really care for that. So I'm going to take some lumps for this one. I'm going to give Vampires the old 2 out of 5. Kind of a Midland low. I mean, if you're really into this stuff, then maybe it can be like a 2.5 for you. But I can't see the people that really just love this movie and tout this movie and whatever. Like I said, there are some moments I think that are worthy and are good and definitely deserve some praise, but mostly that is not the case.
Time to kill some vampires.
A showdown is about to begin between the soldiers of the day and the army of the night.
You can't kill me.
James Woods.
Oh my baby.
John Carpenter's Vampires. Rated R.
I want to talk about The Apartment, the 1960 Billy Wilder romantic comedy that is definitely considered one of the best of all times. It has a ton of praise for it. Obviously, here you see Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred McMurray. And one of the things I think that's important to remember about this film is that it's a film of its time. Wilder had done Some Like It Hot, so he got a lot of leeway to kind of really stretch what he could accomplish on screen, that both theme and sort of the approach. The performances, though, are truly spectacular. I mean, obviously, Lemmon and MacLaine were nominated for awards and deserve every bit of it. It has just great moments. Now, it's called a romantic comedy, but let me just warn you that it's a very strong dramatic piece as well. It's a low budget, sort of small film that takes place with sort of like office romance, with Jack Lemmon's character is like the nerdy guy. He's like a good guy, and he's got this sort of like apartment that everybody wants to use for like their affairs. Boss, Fred McMurray, sort of like accidentally kind of leans into the fact of, hey, listen, everybody's like praising you, whatever. It's because of this key, this arrangement that he has going on with them. Then he wants a key. And come to find out, the Shirley MacLaine character, the one that he kind of has a little bit of a crush on, is the one that Fred McMurray's character is cheating on his wife with. So it creates a love triangle. It creates a lot of stress and chaos and humorous moments for Jack Lemmon's character. There's a great scene where he's answering the phone. There's great moments where he's trying to juggle everything. And they have just amazing chemistry together when they're on screen together. It is probably my favorite Shirley MacLaine performance of anything that I have seen her in. Now, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I haven't seen, but of the stuff I have seen, it's by far the best performance that I have enjoyed. What is interesting is that the film takes like a really dark turn because she sort of comes to grips with the fact that the Fred McMurray character is not going to leave his wife. It's all a lie. Jack Lemmon's taking care of her. The old buddy boy attitude is being taken advantage of because Sheldrake is a comeback. So she tries to take care of herself with some pills, which is extremely edgy and dark for its time. Like, this had to be a pretty shocking story element. There is great confrontation and great sort of reconciliation of how would you navigate. I mean, this really is an interesting topic because, one, it's spotlighting the fact that maybe there's a lot of men that are cheaters. Two, how are they doing it and who are they taking advantage of? It is sort of the nice guy finishes last cliche, but he also loves and cares about this girl even more than she realizes because he's admired her from afar. He's been very respectful of her. She has said, hey, I got a boyfriend or whatever. I'm seeing somebody, that kind of thing. But then as it starts to unpack this twist and this sort of dark element to what's going on with this guy, you're like, oh, this is really going to get heavy. And it kind of does. And it does work itself out well. It has a great ending. It has all the things that you would want in just really is a great film. I think the problem for a lot of folks is that it is, sort of propped up as like one of the best movies of all time because the laughs and stuff are kind of early in the film, but it's not where it leaves you. You're gonna leave with like the gravitas kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a heavier film, but it has a nice corny sort of like sweetness to it in a lot of ways, and it feels so genuine, and it is sort of like the fairy tale kind of working itself out in sort of a dark and edgy way. And I think that everything about how the film is made is what makes its legacy so great. It's a beautifully done film. Billy Wilder did an amazing job directing this picture. It is a great screenplay. Everything about it, from art to cinematography, the editing, the sound, everything about it. I don't know what to criticize. I'm shocked it didn't win more awards, and it hasn't gotten sort of like more headway and sort of like the legacy of time. But like I said, it is a bit of a film for its time. It doesn't sort of lend itself to feel the same way it probably did back then because our culture and society is structured so differently. Divorce is so much more common, but obviously the culture of people's behaviors is obviously a lot more loosey goosey. So that being said, just a great film. 4.5 out of 5 for me. Don't enjoy rewatching it. Mrs. Pops doesn't enjoy rewatching it because it is a bit heavy. There are moments that are truly phenomenal and great. Jack Lemmon again, and that office sequence is just hysterical. He is phenomenal in that role. And like I said, Shirley MacLaine's my favorite Shirley MacLaine performance that she's done. So anyway, that's my take on that one. The Apartment.
Ingredient number 1, a very warm, very wonderful story. Ingredient number 2, a brilliant cast. Jack Lemmon.
Did you hear what I said, Miss Kubelik? I absolutely adore you.
Shirley MacLaine, whose glowing warmth lights up the screen like a Christmas tree. Fred MacMurray. This is a Fred MacMurray you've never seen before.
Okay, 1970s blaxploitation. Oh, man, I love these films. I don't know why we can't get more love for these movies. They are so much fun. Jack Hill directs Pam Grier in Coffy, a phenomenal film. And I know, look, I get Foxy Brown and all that gets a lot more love than this film, but this is a far superior film to that one, in my opinion. It has a similar sort of action elements. It has everything that you kind of want. She is going to basically do like a death wish thing. This is like a death wish story for her as her lover is taken out, shall we say. And you have a different sequence of events where she is basically just going to immerse herself into their world. It's dark. It is full of prostitution and all sorts of crazy heathen behaviors, what's being going on there. And at the same time, it has some political overtones with, who different people are, what they're actually up to. But let's just be honest, this all just plays off Pam Grier being not only a beautiful and sexy action star, she is also doing a great job playing up some of the dramatic moments in this film and pulling them off very well.
My name's Coffy. Coffy, black, and back in trouble. Coffy, godmother of them all. The baddest one-chick hit squad that ever hit town. Coffy.
The one thing about the film that I think can't be ignored is the fact that even though this is uber low budget, Jack Hill's working with what, maybe $500,000 or so, he pulls off just amazing cultural impact, whether it be costuming, whether it be set design, whether it be the aura and the feel of things. He's filming on location shoots and restaurants. He's got look at how beautiful and sexy she is. It definitely represents this era so well. All the characters are interesting. This is the way they take care of this guy by dragging him behind a car, which obviously is a heavy, heavy metaphor for some crazy stuff that was happening in the 60s. So performances are really good. I really love the action. I love the fact that it it has the things that you would love about low budget culty type films, and I don't know why we can't get more love for them, because these are the things that created like foundational stuff and inspiration stuff for successes later on. And just because it's this black exploitation era and they were sort of stigmatized by that, I feel like they don't get sort of the love they want. Look how different. Look, dude, oh, it's just great characters, great designs. Everything works really, really well. The film is from 1973, so hence the reason you'll see a lot of promotional material talking about she's the godmother of them all, obviously alluding to The Godfather, who'd come out the year before. Quote, the baddest one chick hit squad that ever hit town. She is definitely like the Death Wish, like I said before, Death Wish. Truly great film. Kind of an underrated film for its time and its era. It also is sort of plagued a little bit by its low budget. So there are some cheesy elements of things where they just didn't have money for some stuff. So, that is sort of like how it's held back. It's sort of a product of its time and its budget and the situation. So with that, I enjoy Coffy. I think Coffy is better than Foxy Brown. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I enjoy watching these movies. These are there is a half a dozen. This is that Shaft, Foxy Brown type era of stuff. I love watching these movies. I have such a great time. And I have such mad respect for Pam Grier. She is actually on that short list of celebrities I wish I had met. I never have met her. And I really wish I could have just told her how much I always loved all of her work. So I'm not sure she wanted to hear from old Pops, but that is a true story. Who I'd like to talk to.
My name's Carpenter.
Okay, I don't know how I even found the next one. So, Pirates of the Silicon Valley is a biographical made for TV movie about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. I know. How did I end up here? I really can't remember. But Noah Wyle plays Steve Jobs, Anthony Michael Hall plays Bill Gates. They are phenomenal in their roles. And in fact, this movie, because it's a TV movie, it's this uber low budget TV film. It's also short. It's a little over 90 minutes. It was done for TNT. It feels like a much better representation. It feels gritty. You see them being good guys and bad guys, betraying people, breaking the law, all the things that you kind of know has happened, but you have it working together where you almost have these two stories kind of playing side by side and parallel, and their successes are overlapping and moving apart, overlapping and moving apart. Truly phenomenal film. I was just sort of shocked that it's sort of something that's out there that doesn't really get talked about. But let me tell you, as someone who's lived through some of this, and I recognize so many key elements of this film, it feels 100% spot on, man. Let me tell you what, so great. Joey Slotnick is a great Steve Wozniak. John DiMaggio is a great Steve Ballmer. I think that you have Paul Allen's played by Josh Hopkins, which is very, very solid as well. And you just have all of these key moments and all these things happen. You even have like some stuff done behind the scenes with the Steve Jobs, Ridley Scott stuff. Look at this, how great this feels. This is so legit. You have depictions and reenactments of different moments throughout both their lives, which feel very, very accurate. And I think that it gets into some of the darker spaces about his life being, this uber hippie and not taking care of himself as far as not believing in medicine, how he, basically didn't have this relationship with his daughter. And then, of course, what Gates is willing to do, how he just used everyone. Look at how it is hard to believe this is Anthony Michael Hall that did play in Edward Scissorhands. It feels like the Anthony Michael Hall that we knew from Weird Science. It feels like we jumped over. He is phenomenal as a Bill Gates in this movie. Yeah, I'm sort of shocked that it was great. So it was not something that I think either company or any of the people involved would be thrilled about. I think that The creators did such a great job of pulling this all together. The music is fantastic. Again, everything just kind of hinges on their performances, because sort of like this revenge of the nerds, everything kind of coming in real life and in focus. So if you ever get a chance to catch this, let me tell you what, I think it's super solid. It's probably a 3.5 to a 4 for me. I would watch it again. It's dry, just a dry biopic about computer nerds and the development of Apple and Microsoft stuff. So I don't know what you want or what you expect otherwise, but that's pretty much what it has to offer. I think everything about it was executed very well. I think that this is has a lot of pieces that overlapped with other biographical material. Obviously, I was not a huge fan of the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs or even the Michael Fassbender Steve Jobs. There are moments that are great in those films, but this feels even more realistic. And I know that's kind of almost crazy for a TV movie, but it feels that way. It feels more authentic. TNT did a great job with this. I don't know if they have it syndicated somewhere. I don't know what they try to do. I'm sure that there is a lot of pushback because they would not have wanted this to be made. They would not have wanted to sort of tell their story in sort of a dark and authentic way, because there is a lot of mean-spirited and brutal behavior that happens towards other people, and that is probably not shining the light that they would want on them and their legacy. So it's been around for a while. So again, check out those streaming services. Earmark it in the back of your mind of something you might be able to track down. It's from 1999. It was TNT, made for TV movie, Pirates of Silicon Valley. Highly recommend.
They were two 20-year-old kids who took on the world and took on each other.
I don't even think IBM knows who we are. Good.
Steve Jobs is killing us. Based on a true story. ER's Noah Wiley as Apple Computer founder Steve Jobs.
What is this that I keep hearing about you developing this, what do you call it? Windows?
And Anthony Michael Hall as Microsoft chairman Bill Gates. Pirates of Silicon Valley.
2022 was a rough year for theaters and cinema goers because of COVID. And Hustle, a Adam Sandler sports movie, he's basically a sports agent. It's a film about that. Totally fell through the cracks. Ended up on Netflix at basically the same time, which was a marketing disaster for them, in my opinion. But I have to be honest, I watched this during the summer as part of our Sandler summer conversations and really enjoyed it. I've thought about this movie a few times. I haven't gone back and watched it again. But Sandler basically being this sort of like down on the luck sports agent, he is just got a nose for talent, and he kind of stumbles across this great athlete that no one knows about. It's kind of like the superstar that everyone wants to know about. And I will just say, I don't even know how to say this guy's name, so I am super sorry. I know his nickname is Juancho. So he's basically a Spanish player. He's very popular, and he's plays Bo Cruz, this just super athletic. It's phenomenal, right? Now, I understand, other than like Anthony Edwards, an actual NBA player in the movie, there's not a lot of stuff that kind of showcases him in real life. And you have this sort of like back and forth with him putting all of his eggs in one basket to try to train and educate Bo Cruz to get him in the draft. And it puts a lot of strain on his home life and his family. And he's married to, Queen Latifah, because that's believable. 2022, folks. So by far one of the worst things. They have such fake chemistry together. They literally just feel like friends that are faking a relationship in this movie. It's really kind of frustrating because the film is so good with the sports part of it and how much you can feel Sandler loves it. He's into it. Juancho is into it. You have tons of cameos and small roles. Obviously, Robert Duvall plays this Philadelphia 76ers owner. And of course, Ben Foster is this unlikable son. So all of them are part of things. And you have, like I said, I mentioned Anthony Edwards, but you get like Kenny Smith. All in all, it is a really good film. Here's a shot of him up with Anthony Edwards just talking smack to him. It really does showcase a different side of Sandler's career we don't get, and that is that him is a really good dramatic performer. And in this case, I think it lends itself to being good and believable because I know how much Sandler loved basketball. He loves sports. He's really into this. So I didn't have to act as much as you might expect because he could just be who he is and really lean into his love and his passion with this story. The problem is, of course, it's sort of like stuck with being kind of a generic, predictable, like how it's going to end. You kind of an idea. It's a nice, positive, feel good thing. I think that what is interesting is it kind of wears on you a little bit because you do kind of feel like get on with it already. And there's another situation or another scene will pop up because he can't get out of his own way again, or he deconstructs his own. He can't get different more problems take place. But overall, I mean, I think that there are some moments and some things that are just really, really good in this movie. And it's a shame that it didn't come out at a different time or really get different legs. And it's kind of like just kind of parked there for Netflix and people can just run through it at their will and doesn't really kind of get a good word of mouth to kind of get a better thing for him. But really solid film. Uh, Super solid at a 3 out of 5, and I probably might lean a little higher because I do love sports films. I really do enjoy basketball films because I was a big fan and grew up in that as well. And I don't mind Adam Sandler. I actually enjoy him. So if you don't like Adam Sandler, you're gonna have to knock at least a whole star off. I mean, perfectly honest, right? That's it. It's an Adam Sandler movie through and through. I also think if you're not into sports movies and all that, and you're going to get into some of the nitpicks, it's going to bother you more. So yeah, you knock it down for that as well. But definitely a strong Midland filmed, a little above that for me, like a 3.5. So I really enjoy it. I thought Hustle was nice, pleasant surprise for me. I really, really was shocked by that one. I actually thought it was a pretty fun experience.
Taking me to see basketball or bare knuckle boxing?
We do everything. This Philly thing. There's room to grow there.
I want to coach someday.
Look at this guy. In all the years I've been doing this, have I ever reacted this way?
Being the guy who finds the guy matters in this business.
Hey, you love this game?
I love this game. I live this game.
To do this, we got to do it ourselves.
No doubt about it. That kid's got it.
This is all for you, pal.
It's for us.
Okay, it's for us.
So all in all, there's a ton of other movies that I need to kind of get to and try to work in before the end of the year. Some movies that I watched and didn't do reviews. Reviews fell through, scheduling, all these different things that kind of happen in the way. First world YouTuber problems, right? But hopefully you've enjoyed catching up with me on this. And if you're watching one of the clips after the fact, thanks for watching. Check out the links for watching other stuff. We appreciate you so much here. Thanks for watching. I am Pops.